There needs to be more games like Flutter. More games like Flutter. More games like Flutter. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is an outdoor Justin and Max Games review. Why would I want to sit outside? Well, it's Duluth, Minnesota in the summertime, so of course it's gray and not too warm. But the game that I'm reviewing is an outdoor game, Flutter. Immediately when we were playing this, we've played it at 2, 3, and 4, although it plays up to 5. Haven't quite gotten it to 5 in terms of our gaming group, but hopefully that will be soon. Let me begin by saying there needs to be more games like Flutter. It's affordable, first of all. It's beautiful. The rules take about 2 to 3 pages, and the production is amazing. But there's a lot of games that today the production is amazing, but the games aren't amazing. And it's in a small box, and it's an absolutely fantastic game. Would I call it a lightweight game? Sure. You don't have to think about too many things when doing it. I mean, you're just going to choose a tile and then place it. You're just making flowers and then seeing if you can close off spaces and score some points if you have the if you've gained the flower petals enough to spend on something else. So yeah, you could just play it lightly. I mean, look at these tiles. They're just absolutely gorgeous. They're nice and thick, beautiful. They come together in these wonderful patterns. I'll show some pictures of that. They're in these big chunky shapes. It almost looks like a game you'd find in a, like a kindergarten or a first grade classroom. But oh boy, there is a lot to consider in this game. You could play it lightweight. You could play it midweight and take more time to think and to conceive and to really ponder all the options and what you think someone else is going to do, because maybe you're setting yourself up for a big turn, but by the time it gets back to you, that big turn is no longer available. There's some gorgeous pieces. I think I'll start with maybe some detractions. The size of the petals that you get and the size of the scoring board where you're moving these petals along. Ooh, see, I'm outside. You get all sorts of wonderful outdoor sounds of animals. It's a bit small. I almost wish this was just like a little bit larger, like this. But of course, they're keeping it in the small box. Or maybe the pieces may be a little bit smaller. We got the nice deluxe one, so the pieces are nice and thick and big, but maybe just a little bit too big, especially when you have 2 or 3 petals on the same number. So how does the game really play? I mean, it's almost mathematical. There's a certain amount of tiles that just come out of the game based on your player count, and then every tile has every color on it. There's going to be the main color for your pollinator. In this case, you have blue, and it's the same on both sides. And then in the corners, you will have the other colors, red flowers and yellow flowers and purple flowers. And you can flip the tiles around and organize them any way that you want. You just have to be able to make at least 1 flower during your turn. You are going to lose petals if you don't match at least 1 color for your flower, but you'll gain some petals. But ultimately, you're never going to gain petals on a turn that match the color of the animal that you have in the center. So you're having to think ahead and consider, I'm going to I want to score this nice big purple butterfly because it can get me 8 points for scoring it, but I don't have purple flowers on this one, so I'm gonna have to get some purple flowers and be able to, work up towards it. So I'm gonna have to do other things beforehand, and maybe I'm gonna try to push my luck a little bit and just close off some spaces, some empty spaces, where I'm gonna fill in the empty spaces with some water, and I can get wild flowers with that, so you can get something else. It's really interesting. I think, for when I played it, I kind of like it. I loved it at all player counts. I kind of liked it best at 3, just because of the speed of the game. Kind of encouraged that. With 4, I just felt it was a little bit long to get back to me, and then anything that I had conceived might be gone by that time. Not a big deal, but that was just the other thing. Another production question I had was the bees. Now, understanding how bees work in this game is absolutely critical, because you're gambling in a certain sense. You're gambling that you can finish off this, I can bet I can finish off this purple butterfly fairly early in the game, because I'll get a couple extra points and then be able to move my bee to another tile basically immediately, and then try to score that one. My son Max was able to figure this out in the first game, and he scored a ton of points and was able to move his bee around, because you can't move your bee unless you score that tile, or someone scores the tile and then you gain some extra points for it. We've had games where I am betting on this and it sits there the entire game, and I'm losing points basically by not being able to score it. My production issue with the bees is their size again. They're nice and big and chunky and clear what color they are, but when you place it on a tile, especially some of the smaller tiles, it kind of covers up what the color of the animal is in the middle, how many points you're going to get for it, and then some of the other colors. And so sometimes, you're sitting at the table and you're kind of like looking around at it. I almost wish these were like little clear tokens with a tiny bee on it. I might even get some little characters or something and try to do it. I've got my little board gaming workbench in the back where I do my spray priming in the summer and creating upgraded parts. So that was a little bit of an issue. Not an issue really, just a tiny one. The water tiles, sometimes you get nothing, so it's like a little bit of a gamble there. It's a little push your luck on that one. I wish there were more variety in the water tiles. After a while, if people are kind of closing in spaces, and this happens late in the game, they're getting points, which is great, but I wish there was some more surprises. What do I think of this game? For me, it's about a 9.5 out of 10. I'll just be straight up from it. It's a perfect weight game, especially when you don't have players that want to spend a very long time learning the rule set for something that's complicated, or they don't have much time to play. And this one, you can kind of learn the rules very quickly and be able to, do what you need to have a good time. We had a blast every time we played it. There hasn't been a time where it's not been a great 45 minutes or to an hour. We talk over it and we discuss like things. And even, it's fun. Someone comes out with a tile and says, oh, I'm going to put it here. And then another player might say, hey, I think there's a better place for you over there. Where it's a very kind of like, it encourages you to help other people sometimes. It's not, oh, at the end of the game, you got 36 points, you got 32 points, whatever, it's fine. The more fun was seeing how much you can get out of it. And then at the end, the table looks fantastic. I could see this as a travel game as well. You could travel with this game. And everything fits into this little box, and the insert is just fantastic. Maybe I'll take some photos of it so you can see it better. But everything fits in so beautifully. I would love to see an expansion for this game, really. I would love to see some of those water tiles. I think maybe, and again, this is a light game, but if games like Canvas, which also are light, but then the expansion suddenly made it like way heavier and way more thinky. I could imagine maybe like frog tiles or something, where depending on what tiles are next to it, these water tiles maybe, or maybe your bee goes onto a frog, gets eaten or something like that. I don't know. Or maybe you have to line things up. I also, my son and I also conceived maybe some goal cards. Like at the beginning of the game, you have a secret card, and it's not just the things that you're trying to do during the game, but maybe there's some long-term goals, like you want to make at least, score one animal of each color, and maybe you mark it somehow that is yours or something. I don't know. It's starting to drizzle out here and I don't want to get my game wet. So we give this game a 9.5 out of 10, probably just closer to a 10. Fantastic game. Gotta get in.